Rice protein purveyor Axiom Foods reveals the reality of heavy metals in our food. Metals naturally occur in healthy soil. What is considered toxic? On February 6, 2014, from Los Angeles, California, Axiom Foods, whose arizatine enzyme-extracted whole-grain sprouted brown rice protein, which is supplied to food manufacturers throughout the U.S., Europe, and other countries, has embarked on a campaign to educate consumers about the reality of heavy metals in plant foods. Since the sharp rise of vegetarianism and veganism in the U.S., those whose diets consist mostly of vegetables have a naturally higher heavy metal contribution to their bodies than those who ingest an animal-based diet. And by the way, Google Trends reported a doubling of veganism since 2010. Axiom is on a mission to make consumers aware of all of the aspects of how and why metals naturally occur in vegetables that grow in healthy soil. Consumers need to be able to make their own informed decisions about their intake and understand if and when those levels are toxic to the body. The problem with any metals, beneficial or not, is when the substance reaches toxic levels in the body. The question is, what is considered to be toxic, and what testing methods are certified to determine toxicity? What happens when test results are reported as parts per million versus parts per billion? Here's a list of facts. Heavy metals such as arsenic, cadmium, and lead are found in all plants that grow in healthy soil. Why? Because they're natural constituents of the Earth's crust and have existed on Earth since its formation. For more information about that, go to the Agency for Toxic Substances and Disease Registry, 2011. Some metals, such as iron, copper, chromium, cobalt, manganese, selenium, and zinc, are required by the human body in trace amounts as essential nutrients. Naturally, any metal in the soil or surrounding bodies of water will leach into any plants that we consume. This environmental exposure impacts both organic and conventionally grown crops. For citations on that, go to the European Food Safety Authority 2012 for a piece titled Metals as Contaminants in Food. What most don't realize is that we consume metals in common plant foods daily, from in our spinach to our spices. Any metal, including those that are essential to the body to function, can cause toxicity if introduced at high levels. For more information on that, see Total Diet Study Statistics on Element Results, 2007, Center for Food Safety and Applied Nutrition, U.S. FDA. According to the Journal of the American Medical Association, vegans are shown to live longer. Just because a food contains a certain level of metal does not mean the body will absorb or even retain it. The Agency for Toxic Substances and Disease Registry states, for example, that only 2 to 6% of ingested cadmium is absorbed. Now, some plants that grow in water, such as rice, spinach, and asparagus, are often targeted as contaminated by heavy metals because some crops have been found to be in polluted areas of the world. This is well known by efficacious growers and manufacturers. As such, they consciously choose pristine fields and regularly test in specifically certified laboratories to ensure levels are below what is considered to be toxic. In China, for example, one polluted field cited in the news recently was 3,000 miles away from where Axiom Foods had sourced rice on the Himalayan border of Tibet. Testing for contamination in food products needs to be done in accredited laboratories in the United States where standards for calibrations exist and highly educated practitioners test with accepted scientific methodologies. Test results can vary vastly based on seemingly insignificant factors. In April 2013, Dr. Tongasai of Monmouth University released a study showing that he'd found levels of metal that exceeded FDA safety limits. It turns out that he recalled his tests because his instruments were not calibrated. The benefits for plant-based protein far outweigh the negatives. Approximately 50 million people in the U.S. are allergic or intolerant to dairy, and 1 in every 133 Americans suffer from allergies to wheat gluten. This is according to the National Foundation of Celiac Awareness. Many plant-based proteins are allergen-friendly, with the exception of soy protein. Standards for levels of metals are set by the World Health Organization, the European Union, the Canadian Natural Health Products Directorate, the U.S. FDA, U.S. Pharmacopoeia, the U.S. EPA, and California's Proposition 65. All companies that sell products with any levels of metal must be tested by accredited laboratories. These tests are measured in parts per million. When numbers are reported as parts per billion, they appear exaggerated and cause unnecessary alarm to consumers. The FDA has yet to set levels for heavy metals in rice, but they have used Axiom Foods technology as the standard for responsible sourcing, fractioning, and manufacturing of rice protein. Axiom's ricetine is in the process of becoming the very first GRAS-certified rice protein. After that, they will pursue the FCC USP monograph to become the standard for the entire industry. Ricetine was also used in the first double-blind clinical trial that showed it equals animal-based whey in building and repairing muscle. Errors can occur in testing, and managing levels so close to the detection limit can create great variances, some even up to 50%. The amounts are similar to taking, let's say, a cube of sugar and chopping it up into 1,000 pieces, and then taking one of those pieces and chopping it up into 1,000 more, and then testing that final piece. How much metal one ingests is not indicative of how much is actually retained by the body. You see, the body is a natural filter, and dependent upon health factors and the level of nutrition, many foods actually act as natural antioxidants, and this helps to further filter heavy metals. David Janow, the CEO of Axiom Foods, said, "Because we provide whole grain sprouted brown rice protein to food manufacturers worldwide, certifying bodies such as the FDA and the USDA watch what we do very closely. They even come to us for intelligence on setting standards. Testing our products in the most well-respected and most importantly certified laboratories is a continuous part of our daily process. Proper testing will make the difference between something that appears to be safe or toxic. We provide our test results to our customers. We source from the most pristine fields in the world and avoid polluted areas. As makers of human food, we are in a highly responsible position, and we work as closely with Mother Nature as she will allow. At this time in history, avoiding pollution of any kind is no easy task, but it's something we pursue diligently as part of our standards and practices." Here is a table that shows metals that are found in common foods. This is based on the Total Diet Study Statistics on Element Results 2007 from the Center for Food Safety and Applied Nutrition, U.S. FDA. Spinach, a fresh boiled cup, has 11.5 micrograms of lead, 7.7 of arsenic, and 90.3 of cadmium. Cucumber, a raw half cup, has 1.6 micrograms of lead, 1.3 of arsenic, and 0.4 of cadmium. Strawberries, a half cup of raw, 1.2 micrograms of lead, 0.8 of arsenic, 4.7 of cadmium. In an avocado, a half cup of raw, 3.1 micrograms of lead, 2.8 of arsenic, 8.0 of cadmium. In 1 cup of collards, freshly boiled, you'll find 25.8 micrograms of lead, 2.7 of arsenic, 23.2 of cadmium. In asparagus, 1 cup freshly boiled, 2.5 micrograms of lead, no arsenic, and 25.0 of cadmium. In 1 cup of iceberg lettuce, raw, you'll find 0.4 micrograms of lead, 1 microgram of arsenic, and 23.3 of cadmium. In 1 cup of a white potato baked with the skin on, you'll find 2.8 micrograms of lead, 5.8 of arsenic, and 15.5 of cadmium. And finally, in 1 cup of broccoli, freshly boiled, you'll find 2.2 micrograms of lead, no arsenic, and 4.7 of cadmium. Axiom Foods is the most innovative source for allergen-friendly whole grain brown rice ingredients, and they are known for their natural and proprietary methodologies for extracting fractions of other plant proteins such as pea, sacha inchi, and others. Since 2005, the California-based company has maximized the potential of whole grain brown rice in all its forms. Their signature arisatine is the only sprouted brown rice protein of its kind. Axiom continues to widen the possibilities of the world's 3rd largest plant crop into healthful products on which humans thrive.